All right, folks, we're back for another episode of the Mix Behind the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Harry McCluskey. My co-host on the show today, Keith DeAngelis, and a remarkable human being that we love to call Jim, but you might know him as DJ St. James. Originally a Delco guy, been a DJ for 20 plus years, we're going to say, and humbly one of our longest tenured guys on the In the Mix event group team, one of our headline DJs. Welcome to the show, Mr. James Epright. Hi.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Glad to be here, sir. Keith, how do you feel about us, the three of us? How do we feel?
Listen, we're trying.
It's our first. We had the parent pod on. It's a little different,
Let's
but
just be honest.
Trying to get you on.
We need a clown.
You need. So for all our listeners, if you're not watching and you're just listening, Keith was like, you're too serious. And I'd like to think I'm a very fun, outgoing person, but maybe I guess I don't show my clown side enough.
I think it's because, it's your business. You take it very serious. You have a passion for it. So it's hard for you to kind of step away from the business.
All right.
Owner, right?
Jim, meet my clown co-host, Keith.
I wore my clown
What's
shoes.
happening, Keith?
Meet Jim as if I don't know.
So, Jim, dive into us. Take us back to the beginning. How'd you get into DJing? How are we sitting here today? Paint the picture for our listeners. Let's hear it.
All right. I guess we're going to go way, way back first.
All the way. Back
Okay. We're going to go back to middle school, believe it or not.
Okay.
A friend of mine just so happened to be able to come across a pair of turntables and an old mixer. I mean, these were the old techniques before 12s. These were wooden bottoms, big, heavy bastards. Old realistic mixer we got from Radio Shack. And it just so happened that there was a store that opened up in Delco in Folsom. It was a DJ store. They sold equipment, rented equipment, had a cheap record bin.
It's like a barracks.
It was
Similar,
just like,
something like that.
it was just like a little strip mall store that barely, I don't even know if it had a sign. I can't remember too well, but I know they had a cheap bin of records, mainly like promo only records that we could afford because, we were in middle school.
Sure.
So, dollar records, anything from like Rob Bass, Salt and Pepper, CNC Music Factory, and then all kinds of weird stuff that we had never heard before, but we bought anyway because we needed to have records to
Sure, you
mix
needed options, right?
Yeah, so we just, we were messing around in our rooms, just learning how to actually do everything, actually mix records, how a mixer worked. We even got our hands on a little sampler, had some fun. And then fast forward to high school, kind of getting away from that a little bit, starting to do more playing in bands, wanting to be part of a scene. And that also kind of led back into DJing, throwing our own parties, playing whatever we wanted to hear, whether it be like warehouse parties or house parties, then leading into bars, anything from like underground indie music, synth pop 80s, Depeche Mode, David Bowie mixed with like LCD sound system, house music, just mainly having fun, not making any money. But being in our 20s and having a great time, and that was amazing. But then, settling down, getting married, having some kids, needed to take a step away. But during that time period, that's when music software started to come out and be more readily available and readily used. And I started seeing some of that, and I was like, wow, I really like that. That's cool. I need to get back into this. But I also realized that if I was going to be spending time out of the house at nights, on weekends, away from my family, I needed to make some money too. So I needed to make a big shift. And that was going into more mainstream, top 40, bars that would actually pay me money. So that was a big mind shift for me, because when you're in like the underground scene, you're like digging for gems maybe no one's heard of. You're trying to be the cool guy, and you're mainstream, and in bars, they want to hear what they know.
Right.
And you want to play what's going to fill the dance floor. So that was a big mind shift and a big time of learning for me. Played in a lot of empty bars, but that was probably a great thing, really just being able to, learn my mixing even better, get, perfect the craft, learn what works, what didn't work. And it was a great learning experience. Like I said before, I needed it.
I think it's awesome. And knowing you for as long as I did, it's Again, off the air, I reread Jim's original email to us, a couple of them, and
Cringe.
just where we started from where we are now is just crazy, and it's 13 plus, just wild, and I'm baffled that we're here today.
I want to give a shout out to young Jim who figured out how to do all that stuff without YouTube, because that's the hardest part, I think, of anything.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we pretty much had to just look at it and go, okay, well, I guess this is how this works.
Right.
Luckily, there wasn't too many options or buttons or switches on those things. It was pretty much just faders and
Right.
inputs.
Right.
So, yeah,
What was your first official paid gig like?
official paid gig. Let's see. I mean, like my first official paid gig, bar wise,
Sure.
uh, was actually this bar in Northeast Philly called Fishbone, or yeah, Fishbone.
Cobbin and Caster?
Yes.
Boom. I got
I
it.
rolled up and I was like, okay, do I even go in here? But I did, and it ended up being a great time. Like I ended up turning into a regular gig, like a weekly gig for me. Got to learn a lot of what was working, what wasn't working, a lot of old school throwback hip hop. Ended up being a great time.
It's funny. We took that bar over after, I want to say it was called Tomfooleries after Fishbone, I think. I mean, again, this is still 10 plus years ago. The world of music and DJing is a lot different than it was from then to today. What do you miss the most about them days? Is there anything that sticks out? And this is completely off the record. I'm just curious.
I think the thing I miss the most is regular new music. I mean, literally every week you'd be on the record pool, pulling new tracks, being like, "Oh, this is totally going to work. I'm playing this tonight. No one's ever heard this, but I can still play it tonight." Because people were used to new, fresh music coming out every week, and they're like, "Oh, this is the new song. Wow, this is amazing!" And you could drop it, and there was no problems. Nowadays,
hear
there's
something else.
so few new songs that are even usable, especially for us in weddings and private events.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
that the new stuff is edits of old
Of
stuff.
old stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So that's definitely something I miss.
What do you think's changed the most in the 20 years? Like, you made a great point already. It's just funny you already answered the question slightly of the new music, but anything outside of, we just realized music 20 years ago is way better than it is today. But anything stick out to you that's changed?
Expectations.
Cool.
I mean, weddings 10 years ago, 15 years ago was pretty much your press play DJ. You're going to get a standard cookie cutter thing. Nowadays, it's like, everybody wants the club experience, or not everybody, but something
A lot
close to
more.
it.
A lot more.
The bare minimum is, mixing skills, smooth transitions, an upgraded setup. I mean, I remember when we first started doing weddings together, having a facade was
Like a
was a
big
big
deal.
deal. It was like that was posh. Nowadays, if you show up with a facade, it's like, what is this? At least that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So it's about every year pretty much stepping up our game, and it's I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
I agree. Something I think I want to start talking more about, I'm seeing more online, is people. There's no doubt that the numbers, I feel like, have gone down since COVID. I feel like we did a ton of 200 weddings, and now like 175, 150 might be a lot more than the 200s. But I think that people are shaving the number of guests to better the guest experience, and I'm all about it. I'm here for that. Don't get me wrong, we want the big parties with the big crowds, but I think really doing some extras, whether it's lighting or a sax or violin or, add-ons that really make the difference for the atmosphere and the party for couples.
Yeah, totally. And some of the people you're shaving off might not be your party people anyway. So you get the right people in the right room, the right space, right conditions, right music, lighting, ambiance. You're going to be able to get that without those high numbers. I prefer it every time.
Sure. I don't ever I literally say this at every speech. I never use the fancy word of ambiance, except when I talk about our uplights. And they're just an absolute game changer in vibes and energy. And I just don't think it's stressed enough to people.
I'm gonna start calling him out. He uses that word way more than when he does
What-
that. He says that he does
He
it.
came on just to clown me, not to be a
No.
clown. Here's a really good question for you, James. What do you understand about weddings that others don't? And it's such an open-ended question, but I feel like it's important because you've done hundreds of them. You've literally seen it all over the years. What's different? What do you see that others don't, and what your experience shows?
Well, I think it's about making it a personable experience for the couple, and prepping for it immensely. It all starts with our call with the couple, getting to know them a little bit. Obviously we have our worksheets and things that they fill out, and it's taking that information, but then pulling more out of it, and then prepping for the entire night so that we can get the flow right, um, and add in those special little things, whether it be like some of the must plays that might be more off the beaten path. I'm gonna do some research, find some cool edits, maybe some way to create some cool moments throughout the night. But it's a lot of prep, a lot of planning, and then also knowing the flow of how the wedding should be. I mean, a lot of weddings, they're all different, but a lot of them do have a very similar flow. And when you've done that so many times, you're able to just focus on the other little things that up the ante just a little bit more.
I think a lot of people don't realize the prep that goes into weddings. I think people don't understand why weddings cost more than everything else, specifically when we're talking DJs. And a lot of it has to do with the prep of it, planning the wedding, what makes a great DJ, if you will, the catalog, like knowing what to play and when to play it, all of it kind of goes together. But I don't think the prep of weddings are talked about enough. Keith, off the air, you mentioned something along the lines of like final calls.
Final call is
You
the
know,
most important thing there is in the wedding business, in my opinion.
and going to the wedding, or when we're talking to new people, talking about like, let's not ask them the day of the wedding. Let's make sure we have all these things asked and figured out on
Right.
that final call, because their head's spinning with 9,000 thoughts going through it. And the last thing we want to do is say, hey, by the way, what did you actually want your parents to walk out to? Like, they want to talk about that. So, prep is everything
I got a question for you.
on the
This
spot.
happened to us, me and Yost, not Jim. I think I know what you're going to answer, but let's just ask it. We can always cut this part.
Sure.
So, lady comes up and goes, and the bride's not even on the dance floor at this point. So keep that in mind too. She's like, "Can you play Bruno Mars 24 Karat?" And
Bruno's
was
on the
like,
Do Not playlist.
Yours just like, "Can't play Bruno Mars on the Do Not playlist." Oh, but the bride really loves me.
0. Like, you wanted to know what my thought process was?
I just wanted to bring it up because it happened, and me and Yost looked at each other like,
That's the
"Okay,
oldest
lady,
trick in the book.
not gonna happen."
So,
We just kind of laughed. It never got played. I watched
thought
it the
you
whole
were gonna
time.
say like the bride's outside taking nighttime
The bride was outside.
shots. But my point is it like one of them things where it's like she hates Bruno, but she's doing night pictures? Like, can we get one in? And
I will say this.
the
I
answer's
think
still
you
no.
talked about this with maybe on the last pod, but the bride's nowhere to be seen. She's not dancing, and other people are requesting songs that are on her Do Not playlist. It is kind of a funny thing, right? The people that are actually out there and participating in your dance floor want to hear songs that you don't want to hear, and you're not even there to have the dance floor go. So that's kind of a weird thing when you think about it, right? Like,
Yeah, but it's still their day. And
totally.
and,
I'm not. I'm just saying it's a funny,
even
kind of
like
ironic thing.
if they're outside taking night pictures, you don't want to be playing Bruno Mars and have them walk in
Totally.
back in when
Never.
that's
But it was never
something-
getting played. I
Let's-
laughed at this
let's
lady.
Take this a step further. There's definitely been weddings where night pictures are planned hypothetically, and the bride has said, "Hey, my mom loves Sweet Caroline and Runaround Sue. Play them while I'm outside because I hate them and I don't hear them." So maybe on a different aspect, but
I
again,
see.
that's still something that's discussed before, and we're not
Yeah.
asking her.
no surprises.
No surprises. We're big fans of it. What makes a wedding great, Jim?
What makes a wedding great? I think a flawless performance from start to finish definitely helps. And the beginning of that is the prep. The formalities, prepping that's the easy part, I think. I think it's everything else that really builds the night. And a lot of times what I'll do is I basically create a roadmap for the entire night. That minor things for ceremony and cocktail go in there, but then there's some must hits for the dinner music, and that's all about building that vibe that leads towards the dance floor. And then kind of, my roadmap is kind of almost like a choose your own adventure map for the rest of the night. This way we can watch the crowd, see how they're reacting. Basically, every song is pretty much a test, and that leads to the next step, to maybe advance the night throughout where it needs to go. So we get to that end of the night where the energy's high, we have that crescendo, and the couple leaves the wedding feeling like rock stars, pretty much.
Amen. So just throwing out other questions, is there anything that sticks out to you when I simply say like small details? What matters the most? Anything that pops out to you?
Well, I think there's definitely some small details, but it's a big moment. We start with the ceremony. Ceremony is probably one of the most simple things you can do throughout the night, but it has to be flawless.
Executed, right.
You know what I mean? You want all the mics have to work perfectly. There's so few song choices or song changes, I should say. They want to be flawless. That starts everything off, and it creates a level of trust between you and everyone else who's at the wedding. So I think that it feels kind of small, but it's also huge at the same time to me. That's probably the moment of the night that I'm the most nervous, actually,
That's
is
interesting.
ceremony, which is crazy because it's probably the easiest thing.
Simplistic, right.
And
but
everything always goes correctly. I rarely have any kind of hiccups with it, but I think it sets the stage, and I think that's huge. And then other small things are just kind of like, even if it's cocktail music, it's small, it's in the background, but it's creating a vibe, and it's the start of the night. And you want that person to have maybe that extra drink or two during cocktail,
Sure.
and then that translates later to our dance floor. And then I would also say, just your interactions with the other vendors and the venue, just kind of creating little bonds of trust between everybody, making sure everybody's all taken care of, their needs are being met as well. And I think that's usually a little bit more on the MC side of things, running around. But I think all those things really contribute to a successful night, and then a successful dance floor later.
Sure. Off topic. Not see, this is why we just start talking and I have things pop in my head. I want to go back to something. I was going to try to save it for the end, but then I'll forget. So I'm just going to ask you now. I want to know what your ideal amount of songs are from a client for a wedding. Not cocktail, not dinner. How many songs do you want? Because
Must plays? Is that what you mean?
must plays. Yes, I thank you for making
Okay.
specific. But I'm asking it because I feel like there's different people who will have different responses, and I'm just curious on your thought. And again, not cocktail and dinner, predominantly open dance floor. How many do you want in a perfect world?
I mean, I want more than less,
Okay.
always. But I think the sweet spot for absolute must plays would be 10.
Okay.
10 must plays, or even like, you could even break the must plays into, there's 10 must plays, but these 5 are my most important. And then those are the ones that we're going to make sure not only that they get played, but they get played at the right time to create the moments that you want.
And that they're there too, I think, if they,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Well,
yeah,
we
you want
always,
you don't, yeah.
we always pay attention
Just
to that.
clarifying.
Especially, right.
You want them on the dance floor. You want them to have the moment. That's what it's, you know what I mean? You don't want to just waste it while they're in the bathroom.
Right.
It's a good thing. People out there playing must plays when the bride and groom aren't even there, pay attention.
Paying attention.
But then I also like to have a Spotify list too. If you give me something, just even if you're just like, it's just a vague idea of songs we like, it shows their taste, their vibe. That is huge, I think, as well.
Nick Spinelli came on the pod a couple months ago, and he's the first person that, like, I guess made me think about it a little differently because, let's be honest, I've been more on the MC side for the last 7+ years. So me prepping the music like I did in the past is different, but I feel as though, speaking for you guys, if someone saw us at a wedding or they did their homework about us and they loved you as a DJ and they said, we're going to book Jim, I used to take it as a compliment that they're like, do your thing. Here's 5 songs. And Nick came on and he was like, I want the larger list. Don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily want them all to be maybe must plays. And like you said, maybe 10 or, putting a list of 20 and 10 of them are must plays and 10 of them are we really like, get them in as you see fit. but having that Spotify playlist with 100 songs, and it might simply be your gym mix, cruising mix, whatever it is, that just songs and artists that you like. I think it always helps create a better atmosphere environment because we don't know these people. We don't know what, here's another one, perfect example. It's probably frowned upon, something that I do often, which is I ask people how old they are all the time. And like, I feel like in 2026, like you're not supposed to do that. And
I think you are allowed to now. I think back in the day you couldn't, but now people look young. I think you're allowed to do it now.
the reason I don't care for any other reason other than this. When did you graduate high school? When did you potentially go to college? Because that era of music is going to be nostalgic for you. And if someone's 25 versus 35, and I don't know how old they really are, that's a 10-year gap of music of that I might try to hit a little bit harder. So I definitely just think the big lists, maybe not all must plays, is really more beneficial today.
Yeah. Always rather have more than less.
Yeah.
I really feel like this past year, especially, getting more and more of the big lists, and the weddings that have given me that list have been the really good ones. And, finding some hidden gems, like different things that, like, oh, I forgot about this song. I haven't played this in a while. And then you start using it again in multiple weddings.
Especially
and forgotten bangers, we'll call them.
Yeah, sure. No, I think that's
Yeah.
a great way to put it. It's great. It's why I just wanted to bring it up. I just really wanted to know your personal sweet spot.
Especially if they feel like it's going to be an extended dance set as well. Like our couple weddings with some 3.5 hour dance sets.
That's crazy.
I know.
We need material when that happens.
What's overrated to you in weddings in 2026?
I think just doing too much.
It's like the key.
You know what I
thing.
mean?
Yeah.
Like we're going to do a photo dash, plus then we're going to do an extended cake cutting. We're going to do all the formalities with the
whistles.
garter bouquet. Like I think a lot of that is, it's just a lot of extra things. I think if you're going to pick one, just pick one. But the trend has been less and less, which as a DJ is great.
I think it, and I bring this up often, I think it just goes back to if they have a year-long engagement, that's 12 months of them having people just give them ideas, cram ideas, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, all of them. And it's just too much. So I think more is less kind of thing. Backwards?
More is
less
less?
is more, I meant. Less is more. Less is more. Less is more is what I meant.
I think we're entering into the more is less phase of the earth.
I preach this I hate to keep saying things over and over again on pods. I want people to continuously listen, but I can't keep saying. But some things I just want to beat in people's heads for them to understand. Doing all these extra things. Are people ever going to remember these things, specific things? Or are people going to remember how they felt on that dance floor or when you walk down the aisle, and not so much of the little bullshit in between sometimes? And it's not that I care for us to do X, Y, and Z extras. I just think it's about them knowing it's over in a flash, them knowing how quick it all goes by.
Yeah.
All them 5-7 minutes lining up. I know I've said this before, I'll say it again. Changing the introductions from the guys and the girls versus 7 individuals, that saves
I love
5
the 7
minutes.
individuals.
You do?
I do. I'm an MC and I like doing more. I don't know why. It's just me. I don't know. I like energy. This is just my opinion.
I think you get more energy with the groups.
By
Yes,
far. I don't even think it's
Okay.
comparable. All right, watch this. Karen Smith and Joe McLaughlin, who've never met. He's 38, she's 17, and they're walking out together. Please explain the energy.
I had
vibe.
one where the couple came out and she was riding a horse and jumped on his back and stuff. I don't know. Like, it just depends.
They can ride a horse and jump on the back as a group too.
Right.
But like,
It's true. I don't know. I guess
Keith doesn't feel fulfilled as an MC
unless I'm doing
When
a
he's
lot.
at-
I know.
It's all about
who did
Keith.
you just work with?
I just worked with Yost.
He called.
It was
This is
nobody got introduced. It was just them introduced. And then they went into their dance 45
Listen.
seconds in. Everybody came up.
Let me make something.
They had one
clear.
dance afterwards, and then they had one speech, and that was it. I was done doing the majority of my, work within like 10 minutes.
Let
and
me make something clear.
Mhm.
I'm going to cut you off.
You can cut me off.
I know. Hopefully, I get hate from this. I want to stress that I'm a big fan of the DJ and MC team, and we know this. I like that you're on the pod today, Keith, because you guys have done weddings together, so we can relate even more.
Multiple recently too.
But to take it a step further, the prime thing for me is an extra set of hands, an extra set of body. Never having the DJ have to leave the DJ booth and you be the run around.
Liaison?
I swear to God, I was going to say liaison. I swear that's the word I was going to use. But to go back to this weekend, I'm going to be very blunt here and say, like, Keith called or texted me. He was like, I feel like I'm robbing this couple. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, they didn't do a lot of introductions. It was boom, boom, and I was done. And he's like, and again, the introductions are 15 minutes of a 5-hour wedding. But I get what you're saying as far as
But I feel like that's where the most energy happens,
Well,
right? You're introducing them. They're coming out. The music's played at the right time.
I always say it's a lighting the fire, if you will. And like, I always think the introductions is pouring the gasoline, if you will,
right,
to set the stage, to get the vibes and energy of the hype. And by far, as an MC at heart, the intros are my favorite part of a whole wedding. Right. So I do agree with you with what you're saying, but I'm never going to agree with you on, first off, in the end of the era, at least for me, doing weddings, as far as lining full bridal parties up, I think towards the end of it starting to switch, Mike Smith and Karen McLaughlin went to Mike and Karen, if you
first
like. I stopped doing last names, I feel like, towards the end. And as an MC, you never want to butcher someone's name. So I feel like in this transition, you only had to crush their name when they came out. So getting rid of that. But again, the simple things I said. The simple things of, if there's 7 couples, that's 14 people. That's 14 names you got to get right. The last names and all of that lining up and whatnot takes time. There's nothing like going in that hallway and saying, hey guys, let's line up. The guys are going first, then the girls. Got it? Good. That's it. Like, it's so simplistic. I think, and you guys do more weddings than I do, but like, I feel like parents are getting introduced less and more now too. Like, it's just,
or even just one group of parents together.
Both
sets.
I'm doing a wedding in a couple weeks. We're on it. I'm almost positive I think that's they're divorced, and they were like, oh, we're not sure. I said, have them come out together. Like, they don't have to be hand in hand. If it's 4 separate with spouses, whatever, you don't, one's a girlfriend, I don't know this particular one off the top of my head now, but like, it's that much simpler to, and here's another thing. Who gets introduced first? His parents or her parents? Well, her parents paid, or it's the girl. It's all together. There's no egos. There's no anyone getting mad at each other. I'm just a big fan of it. I don't know. I really feel like we could keep going on this because in the bridal party, obviously you have the best man and maid of honor, right? But everyone else, does it matter? If I'm in a wedding, I'm a best man. The last 2 I've been in, but like,
it matters. You know why? Because I feel like even though they made them the best man,
you're next to the best man versus the guy in the back.
Friends. This is these are the people you love.
You're not answering my question.
What do you mean?
Groom, best man, next guy.
Is
there a difference from number 3 to number 7?
Maybe in the groom's heart.
In the groom's heart. I'm saying, does any friend in a bridal party care if they're excluding best man, maid of honor? Is there any difference? I really don't know this answer, and I'm in 20 years. Like, I'm going to say there's not, but sometimes they have a separate way people come in for ceremony than they do for introductions. Sometimes. And there's been times where I've heard people say like, oh, I'm first, or, oh, we're first. So it's different for everyone.
I see what you're saying.
But I just feel like the groups eliminate so much stuff, so much bullshit for some stuff. Again, maybe.
I think it also takes a lot of stress off of the people who are in the bridal party too. some people just don't want all the attention on them, and so that helps
Wow.
them just have a good time.
Such
and
a great point.
just get
Such
relaxed.
a great point.
So, and even bridal party. I mean, brides and grooms these days. I feel like a lot of them, they don't want all the attention all the time, so they want things to kind of go smooth and fast, and let's just get it done.
I think the anxious bridesmaid or groomsman that doesn't have to be simply centered out for that is a big deal for starters. And then let's take it a step further one more time. Let's say I'm a groomsman and me and my sidekick are going to do something and I'm going to do the worm. I can't do the worm, but
Not with
then
the
they
boot.
got to follow that. I knew you were going to call the boot out, but do you see my point of this person's over the top
Yeah.
and the next person they got to follow? That's even more anxiety of they're already centered out. They're already getting their name called out. And Harry went in front of them and made an ass out of himself. And now I got to follow that.
You know what I say? Suck it up. Get out there. It's 2 minutes. No one cares. Why is everyone so worried about what people think?
I'm just
this is
trying
how I
to
live.
portray myself more of a clown.
I know. The way I've lived my life entirely is I don't care what anyone thinks. And I think you have to have that attitude if you're going to entertain people in any way, I think.
3, not 1, not 2, but 3 bald heterosexual males talking about weddings. So tell me more, Keith. Tell me.
I don't know. I don't have any more.
Part 4, stories per our AI put together. Compliments to my fiance, Amanda. What's your most memorable wedding, Jim? And I'm very curious to hear this because we've done easily 100 weddings together. So am I at it? What stands out the most? I don't even know how I answer that question. So I'm curious of you.
There's so many things to choose from. So I'm going to just go way back to the beginning, our first wedding together.
I couldn't tell you it. So God, walk me through it.
Basically.
Where? Do you recall?
Oh, I don't remember exactly where it was, but I remember exactly what happened. Basically, I was more assisting you. This is literally our first time working together at a wedding.
Okay.
You're on the dance floor. We're doing intros, getting ready to do intros. You're looking at me. All of a sudden, literally before you say your first word, fire alarm goes off.
Oh my God.
All the strobes go off. And you're looking at me like, what?
Flower Town Country Club.
Yes.
Boom.
How the hell did
And he
you
looks at
forget
me
that?
like, what did you do?
How did you forget that?
How do I forget what?
How did you forget this happened?
No, he just had it say fire alarm and I knew where we were.
Yeah.
Because they have a cocked DJ set up in that room. I can visibly remember it.
But the funniest part and the most memorable part is the look that you gave me like, what did you do?
Like you set a fire alarm off. That I can remember that actual feeling of being on the dance floor.
But yeah, I mean, luckily it was only delayed for a little bit, but the fire department did show up. They walked in. I believe we might have played Fire by the Ohio Players.
100% did.
Because that's a must play when that happens.
I like when people can sing in here.
But it was funny. I mean, and it was a reoccurring joke throughout the rest of the night. That always sticks in my mind because
I need another
first time.
I mean, that's definitely memorable.
That's memorable for them too. They're going to talk about that their entire. Remember when the fire alarm went off? I should have left you then.
It's so funny because I vividly remember the what did you do aspect. Like
I didn't even touch anything yet.
Maybe I'll edit in the Chris Farley when he pulls off
what you're saying. What did you do? That's great.
I'm trying to think. Another great one would have been one of our Halloween weddings, where it's very rare that you get to see Ron Burgundy get married on Halloween. So that was that was a lot of fun.
We posted this clip actually from that wedding. Wait, no, I don't think it's the same. Is it the same?
With the priest?
Felt Factory?
Did you have a priest?
Yes.
Felt Factory.
Yes.
So the groom put chops on. I had a afro and he drew my chops on in the bathroom. But that ceremony we posted not too long ago on the pod because it's not often that, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage are the Addams family is in the whole row of your seats at a wedding. So it was definitely something that sticks out.
That was definitely a moment that was fun and funny and interesting. But probably my favorite wedding together was we did a wedding at the Lucy about 2 years ago, I believe in December just an ultra banger wedding. Such a nice night. I love that venue.
Shout out to my friend Sarah. She booked it. That's her cousin's wedding. I want to say their name. If I'm clutch, it's like McHugh.
McEwen.
Yeah. All right. So we're close. It's something like that.
But it was just an overall, just an amazing night. I mean, that's got to be one of my favorite venues.
I like the stage. I like the upstairs of the cocktail hour. Shout out to Chess Cafe. It's definitely a good venue.
And we had a lot of flowers. In
Yeah.
front of the set.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that actually. They're like, where do we put them? They're like, put them on the DJ stage. We're like, where? There's so much of them. Yeah, it was a good wedding. So I've been saving this next one. Purposely didn't tell you about it. And I'm glad that you're here for it too. Because I'm going to, he's going to, in case you're watching on Spotify or Apple Music, they both set up really important for this. But the next topic is the dad angle. And I'm sitting with two guys that both have two daughters. And I'm curious about the whole thing realistically. So my first question is, thinking about your daughters getting married and being in this business, what hits you the most? What are you, I guess to say, what are you most excited for? Is the father-daughter dance just the easy answer, or is there something different? But being in this as long as you are, both have growing daughters. I'm so bad always. 17 and 15 is what I'm going with today. Yes.
Spot on.
Damn.
Spot on.
21 and 18.
Bingo.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
But for real, walk me through this. Like, we'll say 10 years minimum right now, right?
Before he answers, I just want to say that I got into this business just so I can afford the weddings of two daughters. Let's start there.
Fair. But Jim, start us off. Walk us through this. What are we thinking about? There's no doubt. Listen, the second I had a kid and I have a boy, and I'll never have that moment that you guys will. But like mother son stuff, there's different things that like hit differently once I have a kid. So does your heart tickle every time a father, daughter, etc.? What are we thinking? Talk me through the dad aspect.
Being at weddings, myself nowadays, I do think about it the most during the father or daughter speech and
okay,
dance.
or even that speeches.
It's probably more during the speeches because you see some pretty heartfelt speeches and it kind of touches you a little bit and you think about it and you're like, oh wow, one day that is going to be
right. Sure.
But I think that the moment that I would enjoy the most and probably get the most worked up over would be walking down the aisle.
Okay.
I think that would definitely be one of the more emotional sides of the night. But then being creative for the father-daughter dance, I think about sometimes. Like certain tracks will come on, I'll be like, well, this would be neat. That'd be really cool. And then I start to think about elaborate things that would probably embarrass my daughter or daughter, depending on, which daughter. But
sure.
It's weird to admit, but think about it more often.
I feel like it's totally normal. Like, I mean, my kid's 6 and I think of random things. Like you have teenage and adult daughters, if you will, like, and times every year we keep getting older. I feel like
I've already started writing my speech. I have 2 speeches. I swear on God, I have 2 speeches written for my daughters right now that I've been adding to just in case something happens to me. I want them to be able to go and see.
This is awesome.
I'm insane.
I love this.
Every time I'm at a wedding and I see a father give a speech, I'm not saying I steal stuff from it, but I definitely gather inspiration from it.
Did you listen to the Parent Pod?
Yeah.
Okay. So shout out to Vince Mullins with an S. He did really well with both of them. I vividly remember things. And he just said something along the lines of like talking from the heart and like trying to be truthful and real to people. And like, I've done this hundreds of times, but Vince Mullins' speech stood out to me among them all. So I definitely think it's normal.
Yeah.
Jim's like, well, I didn't write anything down yet over here, guys.
How many daughters did he have?
He has
3?
4.
This guy's getting a lot of
He's
practice.
4.
I'm saying the other way.
I know. So it's cool. You're the one that's going to edit it out. So
yeah, I don't think I could write a speech until it gets closer to the time. I think too much time will have passed, or at least I hope too much time will have passed.
Sure.
He creeps up quick. I know I'm way closer than him, but it's coming.
It's just wild. I always wanted 2 kids. I'm happy with my boy and we're done. And I never, first off, I think I'm such a sucker for my boy. I couldn't imagine having a daughter, but I don't think I ever think about it ever in life. At this point, my kid's 6. We're done. We're not having kids. The only time I ever think about it is at a wedding in that 15, 20-minute span. And I'm always like, damn, you know. And Amanda's always like, oh, you guys are so close, blah, blah, blah. Like, my days of cuddling my kid are numbered, and like, you guys could
You
potentially
stop somewhere
still
and you
do
don't even
this.
know where, and it's just over.
Literally, like, one day he's
Yeah.
going to get up from laying with me, and it's never going to happen
And
again.
you don't even think about it; it just happens.
And I think back now, like, I don't want to say I think back now, but like, she's like, oh, well, it's like not weird. Like, when he's 13, I think it's weird. And I'll say this now. Maybe I won't. Maybe it'll be different. But like, I think of me laying with my dad at 13 and that wasn't happening. So like,
Right.
so I just think the stuff you guys get to look forward to when you watch this stuff every weekend at other weddings, it's got to be cool. I'm going to ask Jim a question, but I want you to answer it for him first.
Okay.
Here's the question. Do we think we'll be a dad-zilla with being 25 plus years in the business? And the question is, do you think he will be before he answers that?
I don't think he'll be a full on. But,
not a full on.
But I will say this: when you know as much as we know,
That's
you
my
have
point.
to give
That's my point.
You have to explain to him, because if they don't listen to and take his advice, they are, they're wasting it.
Before you answer this, the Mullins came on to talk experience, right? The parents.
Yeah.
And the mom has done this 3 times, if you will. Like, so of course they should listen to some of the parents' advice because they've just done this with other kids and they've already got married. You seeing everything in here, like, I'll answer before you for myself in 25 years if my kid gets married that I will be, because I feel like how not. But I'm just curious your thoughts behind it and how in depth you've thought about it.
Well, I think it also depends on, what's happening at the time. But I think I'd be very much involved in the process of selecting the person, selecting the company, and then being able to be at a position where I trust who they've selected and being able to walk away.
You hit the nail on the head. That's literally what I was thinking. The planning process of booking the vendors. Let's even talk about the venue and acoustics. Like, respectfully to your kids, they're dummies if they don't take their dad's advice to be part of some of this just from the knowledge of stuff. But here's my favorite part of this little spiel, final question of the kids. What will their weddings must have by your standards today? And the best part is we know that the kids are actually going to watch this for maybe both of you. But like, is there anything that like, all right, we'll say 10 years from now, Rory older?
Younger.
Damn. I'm like, let me just pull one name out. But 10 years from now, is there anything that just today you're like, it's an absolute must at their wedding from your kids' personal experience of like what you think they would need? Specific needs, I should say.
Yeah.
And not like a good DJ. Like, you know what I mean? Like specifics.
Not even thinking about that. I'm thinking, definitely uplighting, anything to create just a different kind of look, because they're going to have very specific tastes. And I think things like that can be adapted very easily to just about everybody. And that will upgrade any space. So I would definitely shoot for that. I don't think that they're going to want things like cold sparks. It just doesn't seem like their
vibe.
bag.
Sure.
It's a little over the top, but
They both artsy. I know one is.
yeah, I would say they're both pretty
They're both
artsy.
artsy.
With visual and,
Well, that's,
they're also into video game art and things like that as well. But I think it's a very visual thing. That's the one thing I would probably push for, that and, a sound system that complements the space. But other than that, I'd actually be more interested in hearing what they've seen. Yeah. And then making recommendations from there. I would take their questions.
Does it sound even crazy to have this conversation about
Yes.
your daughter's Pinterest board, if you will?
It's very crazy. And I don't think it's anything I'm going to have to think of for quite a while.
Well, knock on wood for you guys, Dad. Weddings aren't cheap, so I heard.
Yeah.
I know.
They've got a lot of life to live before they get to that, I think.
And this is why, I mean, this is where I always like pause and say, do I say things like this on the air, if you will? But like, I think it's wild that I also think, are weddings getting older these days? Does anyone think that?
Later in life?
That's what I meant. Yeah, later in life.
I don't know. I got married when I was 28. I
I
think
mean,
that's
you're
like
similar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was 29, but like I think it's
In my
about the same.
in my 20-year, maybe it is. I don't know why I feel like, maybe I'm wrong. Because I sit here and say, like, my progression over the years, now I'm like some of the bride's mom's friends or know people in the older, but like, I was going to simply say, I think I'm doing more mid 30s today than we did 10 years ago, but I don't know if that's really true.
Someone actually asked me the other day if I thought the ages were getting older, just from like an affordability standpoint, like people being older when they get married now.
And like, you can have a wedding for $5,000 or $500,000, essentially, if you will.
Yeah.
But like, that was also part of my thought process of people trying to buy houses today, people spending money on weddings. And what's the priority too? So like, are we not gonna, I also know people that we have consults with every day that, hey, like we've actually been, and this all changed post COVID because people randomly got married like on a whim because it was COVID, if you will. But
Yeah.
like, we actually got married 2 years ago, but we saved the money or we lost the job or something where we still promised ourselves we were going to have that big wedding, but wanted to do it the right way. So we waited a little bit. So I don't know, just random food for thought of, you both say no to the answer though. It's kind of,
No to what?
Yeah, I haven't really seen like
The
any
older people?
trends.
Like people being older? Is that what we were talking about? I'm sorry.
when I say older, I don't mean 40 plus, 50.
I was just saying,
plus.
I think we could probably, there's probably statistics on it. We could probably find this out. Like, actually, if we had like a person that was sitting here with us that,
I swear on life, I was just going to say, if there was only a person sitting in the chair that we could have Google, what is the average
like
age?
Spider-Man, the guy in the chair. We need the
Yeah.
guy in the chair to come up with
Like,
some statistics.
what is the
for us.
average age of people getting married in America in 2015 versus 2026?
I feel like people back in the day got married real young, like 18,
No, 100%.
20,
Like
right?
our parents' era was way young. That
Well,
is
I think
definitely.
my mom
It's
got married.
very
She was
rare that
18.
I have a wedding where the couple was extremely young, like below 25, I think is.
And that's the number I was just going to say. And that's where I didn't want to like be negative when I say it. I just think it's so crazy because, not yet. It's so crazy because I don't want to like, I never want to offend anybody. I just think in 2026, we live in a wild world. And I low key think it's kind of crazy if you're getting married before 25. Just literally what you said. Nothing, but
I want to state that I didn't say it was crazy.
okay. But I want
As
to,
well. Want to state that I did not say that?
I want to go on the record and say, then we have the Mullins come in. Okay. And then I go, all right, you guys got it figured out. I was blown up. I can't believe how many times we brought up the Mullins today. But like, they sat here and they've been married for 30 years and they seem like they got it figured out and they seem like a happy couple, and that's great for them. Then they mention that both of their parents are all still alive, which I was baffled about, and they're still married 62 years and 55 years. So that's some good, they're doing something right in that household and living. But now they got young kids and they're getting married somewhat younger. And you see some of these relationships and they've been high school sweethearts and they're 24-ish getting married. They've been together since they were 15. And it's just, there's definitely people that meet the right person at a young age and it works and they're together a long time. And I'm here for all that. I just think there's probably more so times of not of being 21 to 24 kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like I just started rambling.
No, you're fine.
Mike, we got any stats? Glad to see you're awake over there.
So from 27 and 29 to 31.
So it went up like a year. It's not really that
I
much.
feel like that's higher than I thought, though.
Stop. We
I'd
don't
like
need
to know what's the 1940s.
1940s.
No, we need to hear this. Why not? What's What was the average age in 1940s? I'm just curious.
21.
Over or under 21?
I already lost my only bet today. Jim. Fuck. Surefire lock. I thought. He's talking rates. We're talking age of getting married.
I will say this. No one ever mentions this, and I want to just say this. No one ever mentions this, but like live your life and get married later in life. Enjoy your 20s. Like they were the best part of my life, best times. I was broke. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do.
How old were you when you had kids?
28.
When did you get married?
I got married when I was like right after that. So I had kid so I got married when I was 28, had a kid when I was 29.
Got it.
So
you're not far.
Yeah, right around there. I think it was, I want to say it was 30 when we had Chloe.
Gotta enjoy your 20s.
And you were already
they're
married?
The best.
Yes. I married.
I wasn't judging you guys if you were
29. I can't remember.
Obviously, I had a kid out of wedlock.
How old were you when you got married?
That's why I already said I had a kid out of wedlock. Why do we bring him on? We were doing so good.
I don't know, man.
I think the vibe's good. I'm enjoying it.
Here's a fun question. What do you think the biggest mistake couples make?
Well, here's the real truth. A lot of couples will choose their DJ because they think they fit their specific vibe or music taste, which is still a big thing. But I think one thing to really think about is reliability and trust. Does this DJ have the experience, the time put in to know that they can deliver on their day while still fitting the vibe and musical taste? I think that, there's a lot that goes into it, but you're trusting this person with your entire day.
Peace of mind is everything, and I say that all the time. So what do you think couples aren't prioritizing enough?
Well, this might surprise you, but, placement of the DJ within the layout. I think a lot of times it's like an afterthought almost. Like the venue's like, oh, well, the DJ just goes over here. But then that puts the DJ off the dance floor. Maybe there's a table in front of us, and it just takes your energy down like 50% sometimes. I mean, we're still doing a good job. We're still getting that energy in, but it could be so much better if we're on the dance floor, vibing with the people. We're right there. I really think that and it's not really the couples usually. A lot of times it's just the venues giving that direction, and not to throw the venues under the bus, but sometimes we're an afterthought, and we're pretty much controlling your entire night. Not pretty much. We are controlling your entire night. You're putting a lot of trust in us, and you should put us in a spot to deliver the best product we can.
Well, here's something they should know too. I also think it's super important to tell people that you mention it. It's more on the venue than the couple. However, if the couple stresses to the venue is not going to fight them on it. They're the couple. It's their placement where they want. And you hit nail on head that there's so many scenarios where we're set up behind two tables. So we're going to blast music in the corner over two tables to project onto the dance floor. And the energy vibes of the DJ being 50 feet away from them where they're playing said music, again, is something that's not talked about enough. So it's a great response. Did you have a follow-up, Keith?
I did, but I don't know. I don't want to clout the venue at all, but me and Yost did one last Sunday, and that venue had us off to the side, the corner. We're not in front of the sweetheart table. We're like next to another table. Now they did have a house system, so it wasn't like we were blasting a speaker into someone's face, but it definitely, I think, caused a little bit of I don't know, just caused a little bit of less vibes. I'm not saying that it made anything worse. It just
so I just had to look up the venue where you were talking about. Jim loves playing there, the house venue in Jersey that's very close to your house. And I agree and disagree with you because it's a weird setup and it's cocked to the side again. But it's at least on the dance floor there. Yes, at least you're right there.
Are you sure we're in the same spot? Is it the same spot?
It's the same spot. Yeah, it's the same spot.
On the corner there?
On the corner there. It's
you are on the dance floor, but
let's take it a step further. The head table's probably
table
10
9
feet from
was
you.
Table
9's directly behind you, but
right
the head table is also right on the dance
right
floor.
Of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. But I don't know. I feel like
I love the venue itself and the
everything about the venue is great except the house system and where they put the DJ. Other than that,
feel about
everything.
house systems, but you're right. I think the grounds and the property is beautiful.
This is the tough part when it comes down to like choosing your venue, right? You have this beautiful venue, it's great, you love it, and you don't really think about the house system that might cause your music or
Well, sometimes it's not brought up.
right.
I think that has to be a thing. I mean, there's multiple places that we can talk about, but
Is that a decibel thing that they don't let you use your
100%.
speakers? Right? It
Yeah.
has to be, right?
so that, to be honest with you, that venue and the other notorious one that we're aware of, they both have the same complaints. That this one down the street is a complaint over the river, and the other one in Jersey we're talking about is the owner, I guess, lives on the property.
And he
Really
doesn't
just
like
fall
it
off.
being loud.
But in the scenario that you're talking about, I think it's even more ridiculous because why do you live there then
Yeah.
if this is your wedding venue? Like,
Totally.
the owner calling to complain is a little drastic in my opinion. And the other one that we work at a lot, in that instance, like it's like some sort of government person that lives across the river that okay that they at least have some, but like to hear it's the owner that's calling you
That's
got to get
bizarre.
that down. Like the owners complaining from his house that's
They should have
100
like a
yards away
platinum
from the
package.
venue. Yeah, I don't really.
We charge you an extra
I
$1,000,
never
and the
knew
owner
that
doesn't
part.
care.
That's
Yeah, the
ridiculous.
first time what did that wedding? No, the first time I was there, someone told me that like, oh, the owner lives like 100 yards away, and like he calls and yells at us, and I'm just
He
like, what?
calls and yells.
I
at us.
swear, like that really.
It's so
happened.
bizarre.
What's your go-tos? And do you have like 2 or 3 that are just like everyone knows I love No Hands, Waka Flocka? Like, is there 2 or 3 that are just your absolute favorite to drop at a wedding
Well,
besides Jackie Chan?
Oh,
I'm just kidding because you know I love that.
you don't like it? Or
I
you
love
do?
it, but it's not that it's not a bad one. It's just like I like live for when I know Jim's playing it. Whatever might be on before, and I'm like, I feel Jackie Chan's coming here. But what do you got?
I was actually going to say No Hands, not as far as like it's my favorite one to drop, but it is a track
Crowd
that I like
reaction.
to drop near the end of my beginning of my dance set, just to kind of feel the crowd out a little bit, to see, the reaction. And then that kind of tells me how deep we can go.
How hip hop we're going.
Yeah, how hip hop we're going. So that is definitely a big one. I love then being able to drop down into do like, I guess we'll call it a little bit more of a chill hip hop set where we're gonna go into bedrock. We're gonna kiss me through the phone, buy you a drink. I love being able to hit that and then seeing the crowd really react to that.
Keith don't even know 2 of them 3 songs.
I know all
off the
those
top
songs.
of your head.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, if he works with me, he should know them.
I know.
Oh, all right. Touche.
I even like imagine them like going into each other as he was saying it. I was like,
Yeah.
nice.
But those are a great thing to drop instead of a slow song, because a lot of couples I found we talk about on the calls where they don't want to slow it down, but the crowd still needs a couple seconds to catch the breath.
I don't know if I've ever said this on the pod, and we've had to work a wedding since we started this pod, but you said that to me and I was baffled. He said, in the last year, I've only had a handful of couples that wanted me to slow things down, and I just thought it was still just so standard. And the past couple I've done, we didn't slow it down and the couples didn't want it. And I've even checked with the couple night of, like, hey, just confirming we're going hard right to the end, like not, and they still say yeah. So I don't want to say baffled, but like I almost feel that the MC, I feel like should maybe say something towards the end
Double
of dinner.
check, right?
No. I'm saying make an announcement towards the end of dinner before we start to pick it up. Maybe throw in I don't know why I can't think of a tequila. Dan and Shay, I was trying to think of something, but almost say like Speechless was the one I was trying to think of. Thank you. But like almost say
For our couples,
yeah, like
Get
hey,
out here,
you
'cause
mean
this
like
might be your only
right,
chance.
like right as a transition from cocktail to
No.
dance?
after formalities, mid dinner, specifically play
Oh,
a
right.
Speechless and At Last, something that's a
Gotcha.
glorified
That's your
slow
spot.
song, And it's almost like I don't know how I feel about this. I'm just kind of word vomiting this conversation, but like I don't want to call the couple out and say, hey, just so you know, they're not trying to stop the party. Like, we're trying to play a couple slow songs out here. Grab your wife, grab your husband, come out now, because once we pick this party up, we're not going
I
back.
said cocktail. I meant dinner when I said
Yeah,
that,
yeah. But
well,
yeah.
so this happened just when we were just at. The dad of the groom comes up and says, I did everything else. He was the officiant. He gave the only speech. He said, I did that. Now we got to do one last thing. Got to
I'm
play
gonna dance
Taylor
with wife.
Dane, whatever song it was. It was my wife and I's song that we danced to at our wedding. And you know, could you play that? And, you know, they didn't tell us that they wanted to slow it down. I wasn't sure how they were going to feel about it. So I just kindly went over to the groom and I was like, yo, your dad came up to me. He said he wanted to play this. I just want to make sure that you guys are both cool with this. You know, normally I would just do it, but I just want to get your
No
vibe. Do you
surprises,
guys
sure.
want to slow it down? And he kind of thought about it for a second, and then he was like, all right, yeah, no problem. And then, you know, we had one slow song. We slowed it down one song. People came out and danced, and
Is
it was
this
all
in
right.
the
but
middle of a dance set?
we were pretty much in the middle. Like we
You
were
already
probably
full
like,
blown in.
yeah, we were probably like a good hour and 15 in. So you figure we were going for 2.5. We're about halfway through. It was probably right around the perfect time. It was right before dessert was being called. We were going till 10:30. It was probably like 9:15. So, I mean,
Fair
Another
enough.
neat option instead of slowing it down too. And this only came about because, you know, sometimes you get requests where you don't really know where you want to fit it. You know, we had a couple, they really wanted to hear Piano Man by Billy Joel, but they wanted it during the dance set, but they didn't want it at the end because they wanted to avoid the whole we're standing in a circle, singing, holding hands, you know, Whoville.
How do you
kind
think
of
I
thing.
feel about this?
I think you hate it.
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't like to end the night like that either.
You're saying end of the
Um,
night, or you're saying period?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I'm gonna s-
Cocktail hour.
No,
Dinner.
totally,
Terrible.
totally get it, totally get it. But people have a vision. So basically, what we did was, you know, another song we had to fit in was Queen in the middle too. Don't Stop Me Now. So we did that,
Big
and then we
fan.
went right into the Billy Joel big sing along, lots of energy.
They
You
formed
know,
2 circles and then eventually into one huge circle.
You guys were on this together,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. And then we got a big moment with the bride and groom. He picked her up. Big round of applause. And then I think right after that, I dropped Be Faithful by Fat Man Scoop.
The
and
way he
boom.
dropped it in was awesome too, because it was like slow, boom, came right
Totally.
in, and like crowd came right back
Yeah.
up. If you do it right, it can work, Har.
This may surprise you. I think it's terrible. Let me ask you this too, totally off topic, and this kind of goes back into flow. Do you prefer front loading songs by decades, I should say? Open dance floor set. Do you want to, once we hit a certain time, we're never going back? I think the answer is yes, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, the answer is usually yes. But we'll still save a couple for later. Like,
Sure.
you know, there's some big ones you can play later at any time. You can play I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 or Ain't No Mountain High Enough later.
I was
But I
thinking
wanna- I
Gimme
want-
Gimme, but yeah.
But I want to, you know, front load any Motown definitely besides those two. And then, you know, like some 70s kind of stuff, usually front load. It's usually for the parents.
I'm only asking because I'm going back to what you're saying. I wasn't there. You guys are describing it like it worked.
It did.
It worked perfectly.
It worked amazingly. I can't even explain to you how well it worked.
This goes back to the expectations versus reality. And this is why I'm going to compliment you two as two of my best. So take a bow, boys. I love yous. But I really feel like this is the perfect scenario where experience matters. And 5 out of 10, I feel like I'll confidently say 5 out of 10 other DJs that were given this task wouldn't have had the same reaction, whether they played it at a different time, whether the next song you dropped after, maybe the way that Keith got on the mic and, you know, hyped them up for it. I just think saying, hey, I want Billy Joel's Piano Man played in the middle of my dance set, not at the end of the night and not at cocktail hour, somehow, some way, I confidently feel like 5 out of 10 would have lost the energy or vibe in the room.
I forget what I said. I wish I had. You have that on video? I said it's little something.
is
but
on
I didn't.
video.
I didn't go too crazy though. I will say this. I just thought of something. This is amazing. experience plus expectations equals the proper reality that you want. Just saying, right? I mean, you could say,
And it's at this moment,
you
boys
watch-
and girls, I'm so glad that Keith came on the pod with me and Jim today.
I'm snorting.
I wish you had a red nose.
Well, I think with anything like this that we're talking about, the energy leading up to it is probably the biggest and most important part of it, which we had down pat. And it was one of those things where I was only going to do it if I felt the energy was right.
That wedding was
If
a
it wasn't
banger, though.
right, I was not going to drop it.
That was a banger wedding. They never were off the dance floor, crowded the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it
How
was
long ago was
amazing.
this?
It was perfect. When was it?
couple weeks.
No, just
Well,
recently.
times,
that's what
2
I'm
weeks.
Okay.
Last 2 Saturdays.
Big
ago.
one, Grand Ballroom.
Yes.
Love that room.
I love it too.
I'm telling you,
It's so
like,
nice.
knock on wood, I don't know if I've ever done a bad wedding in that room. I love the big room in that venue.
I like it for selfish reasons. That little back area where you can get out.
We
to
all
the,
like it for selfish
They even
reasons.
changed it for the better now too. So the stage is a little bit more forward, and there's a curtain behind you, completely. So you can load in, leave all your stuff behind the curtain, and just set up.
I didn't
It's
even know that
amazing.
wasn't a thing, but that's I love.
Yeah.
That's the part I
Was
love.
that your first time?
First time, and yeah,
Oh, his first time.
Yeah, I know you've been there.
I live like 10 minutes from there. Well, 15 from Normandy Farms.
Really?
Yeah, it's right down the street from maybe 20, but it's very close. I got home in 17 minutes. He was like not even on the turnpike yet.
I got two more. Worst requests, or what do you hate to play the most? And don't say line dances.
No, well, I'm gonna pick a couple here, and they're not surprising, but I'm gonna say I would be very happy if I never had to play Sweet Caroline again.
Fair.
And also going back to the same kind of thing we just talked about with Piano Man, I would also be very happy if I never had to play Friends in Low Places again.
Do you still play that often?
No, but every once in a while it does show up as a must play, and it's
At
one of
the
those. It's the same kind of scenario.
Right. The circle around at the end.
Yeah. How do you avoid that? Or if that's what they want, that's totally fine. But it's how do you avoid that? So those are definitely two. Other than that, there's really not much that I don't want to play or that would get me down, or I'm going to find a way to fit it in. I think that's one of the challenges I like too, is getting some not oddball, but like off the beaten path requests that are must plays that I
Yeah, you
have to find a way.
Sprinkle in somewhere.
I can give you a perfect example. We had a bride who loved The Wizard of Oz. She loved Wicked, and she loved the song Defying Gravity, and she wanted that in her dance set. And that song is all over the place. It's a Broadway song. It goes up and down.
Can
It
you
has
sing
no
it for
flow,
us?
no beat. I can't sing it for us. But
Would I
I-
know the song?
what do I know it?
Would I know the song? Is it a popular song?
I don't know.
Okay, go ahead.
But anyway, I, dug deep into SoundCloud, found an amazing edit that would perfectly work in the middle of the set. Kind of had like a little bit of an EDM.
Were you
type
completely
vibe.
shocked that you found a good edit for a Wicked song, if you will, on SoundCloud?
No, I'm never shocked on SoundCloud
Okay,
because there's so many things on there.
SoundCloud, never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking of another platform. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. SoundCloud makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it worked great. It was probably one of the best moments of the night too. And she was so happy.
To circle back for a second, the Billy Joel thing, terrible. I'm just kidding. But the Billy Joel thing, you also do got to take into consideration that even if it doesn't seem like a sexy choice at the time, they obviously have something around it.
There's a connection.
That might have been played at every single wedding in their family for the last 30 years. That might have been their college drinking song at the end.
Right.
So there's obviously some meaningful stuff to it. So, as much as I was saying I wasn't a fan of it, you're going to ignite the dance floor in the right setting if it's such a meaningful song.
Just because
to
you
the
don't like it doesn't mean it won't work for other people.
100%.
People, right.
And again,
That's what
I
people
don't
have to
even
realize.
I don't even mean that I don't like it.
It's just your opinion. You
Listen, and what my opinion.
you're not going to have that at your wedding in
No.
what 2036 or
28 is what I'm saying. 28 is what I'm saying.
Shots.
All right. Well, listen, Jim, I appreciate you coming on the show. We've been long overdue to get you on. We love to hear the inside scoop from our official OG 13-year season vet. And I'm really glad that we brought Keith on with you, as he is your sidekick on many of these adventures these days.
I'm definitely his sidekick.
I appreciate it. So
It was
thanks
been
for
a pleasure.
coming in. Appreciate you coming on, and let's do this again in a year.
Definitely. Love to be back.
All right. We're out of here, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Cut.
Peace.